Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the True Sim Productions YouTube channel. I am your host, Winston Deal from the WD Broadcasting Network over on Facebook. I'm joined by my co-host, Connor Osborne, and we are getting ready to present you guys the season opener for the All-Star Racing League Late Model Series. So we'll get the tower up on the left side of the screen. Connor, how are we doing tonight?
Good to be back. How are we doing, Winston?
I'm just taking notes of these practice times. Everybody's looking pretty close, and if you look at the left side of the screen right here, the times are really close. There's a little bit of a gap towards the top, but I'm assuming the draft has something to do with the way that the top three are a bit ahead. But this track, Rockingham, high banks. These cars are crate motor cars, so not a lot of speed down the straightaway, Connor, and we're going to see some pack racing, and that's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be very exciting. With about 5 minutes left of practice, I'm very curious to see how qualifying is going to do. Going to play a factor, without this draft and stuff like that. So it all depends on, who can put the best time down. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested to see how much qualifying is going to affect the end of this race. Obviously, we have 85 laps. And these guys are going to get a set of tires down in the pits as well, but obviously time's going to tell. But Connor, what do you think? Is qualifying up front going to help you off, say lap 70, lap 80, or is it just going to help you out in these beginning laps?
Honestly, I think it's going to be, going to be pretty helpful in the early run, but you just got to think, man, it's only 85 laps, but at the same time, this track is very big compared to the rest of the schedule we have with this All-Star Racing, series that we have broadcasting to you guys. And just overall, I think starting up front isn't really a big factor, for these types of races where tire management plays a big factor. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, and the tires and really track position is going to be a big factor throughout this entire race. My guess is it's not going to be the easiest to pass, especially with the amount of off-throttle time that these guys do have. But still, you can't pin yourself deep in the field. We have 25 cars here at the Rockingham Speedway tonight, so if you're back in that 20th, outside the top 20, you're going to be looking pretty rough by the lap 40 mark, because you're just going to have more laps in your tires. So I think if I was in this race, I would try to be a little bit more aggressive in qualifying, just to kind of maybe save some of the tires for later in the race. Connor?
Yeah, I completely get what you're saying. And, you have to think, if these guys do, race hard, like, I know that they do, it's going to be rough with these high speeds, like you got to, you get spun out in the infield or something like that, you hit the wall. It's not going to be easy to come back from, engine damage or, aero damage, at least for this track, especially. It's just, damage is really going to play a big factor when it comes to these cars and how fast they're running.
Yeah, these guys do get a fast repair, but obviously if you use that within the first halfway through this race, it might be a little bit hard to make up for that, if you have a second incident like you said. But 2 minutes left in practice here. We'll take a look down on the track and see if we can't catch our leader in practice, Brian Voss. I don't know if he's out on the track just yet. Looks like he just reset his car. There he is. Brian Voss, the 55 machine, picking up a couple race wins last season with the All-Star Racing League. Ended up with 3 wins. Last of those coming in the season finale. So Voss, a proven competitor, with 1:36 left in practice. And if you remember, Connor, I might remember it a little bit more than you because I had more races with the All-Star Racing League. But Voss is a heck of a qualifier, and he always puts that 55 machine right up near the top. So I would expect him to be a threat here in qualifying as he pulls to the inside of the racetrack. Take another look around the track, see if we can find anybody else.
Yeah, and a few of his interviews that he did talk about, he did say he was a hot lap hero, but you got to think those 3 wins that he accomplished last season, it came from a good qualifying time. And you just got to think if he can continue putting that car on the pole and keeping that car up front, he should be pretty set.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot easier to lead this field than it is to be behind, because my assumption is we're going to see some pack racing, and if you're the guy third, fourth, fifth in line on the bottom, it's going to be hard to keep that car down, because my comparison is to this car and this track combination is kind of like the Cup cars at the new configuration of Atlanta in the Cup Series. It's kind of like a super speedway, but it's still short and it's still, you know, compact. So there's going to be different elements of the race, but track position definitely going to play a factor here as we have 10 seconds left in the practice session.
Yeah. You know, these late model stocks, they're not really used to running these big of racetracks, you know. So it's definitely going to be a fun race to watch. And you know, the rest of the season is going to be really fun to watch. So to you that are, you know, tuning into the broadcast today, I'd really appreciate if you guys, you know, tune in for the rest of the season. You know, these guys do really put on some really good shows, and as we do get into qualifying here at Rockingham Speedway.
Yeah, and like you said, following through the season, last season we had the points battle come down to the last race, and it was, you know, a 3-man race going into the season finale at North Wilkesboro. So it could be a very exciting 12-race schedule this time around. Looking forward to it quite a bit. Next week we're going to be at the new Smyrna Speedway for 100 laps, and then the newest track on iRacing in week 3, Slinger Speedway. It's going to be a great race. These late model stocks are going to be a blast around there. So looking forward to that in a couple weeks, as well as South Boston after that. But we'll go ahead and take a look at some of the guys on track for qualifying. Brian Voss going to be the first of those. Definitely a fast competitor in the 55 machine.
Yeah, like I said before, you know, very curious to see how, if the draft does play a factor or doesn't play a factor. You know, I guess we'll find out as you guys see on the broadcast. Brian Voss coming through turns 3 and 4.
He's going to go to the top of the board on lap number 1. Now, I believe these guys are going to go quicker on lap number 2, but Voss quickest on his first lap, the 25.52. He's going to work his way through turns 3 and 4 here. Only getting 2 laps. He's going to go underneath the apron all the way down by the grass to the line. We'll see what kind of time he's able to get. Looks like he's going to pick up a couple 100s and be down into the 25.4s. A good qualifying effort there, similar to his practice efforts.
Yeah, that is correct. You know, first lap for your All-Star Racing champion of last year, Brandon Elvis, I do believe. He goes P6 with a 25, or P8, sorry. 25.869, but you just got to think, you know, as you saw Brandon Voss, and as you can see, he goes P2 with a 5.90, 25.590.
Yeah, Elvis shot up there on the second lap. Matt Cox going to shoot up. Alex Harris jumping up into the top 3 as well. He's the closest right there in that second spot with a 25.54 compared to Voss's 49. So times are pretty close up at the front. We got 17 cars that have taken time so far. Jonathan Atkins in the 17 hops up into the top 10 on his first attempt.
Yeah, Winston, I got to ask you, man, do you think any of these drivers in this All-Star, you know, racing league are going to be able to, you know, touch a 4 just like Brandon Voss did?
Brian Voss. But,
Brian Voss, goodness gracious.
It just depends, you know, the way that iRacing updated the oval physics, the track temp really does play a big factor in these qualifying times. And one guy that we're going to have to keep an eye out for that top spot is none other than Justin Coleman, your runner-up last season, to none other than his Elvis Coleman Racing teammate Brandon Elvis. Justin picking up 5 wins, 6 if you count the All-Star race, but definitely a proven competitor trying to put his name into the top 3. He's going to have to do it on lap number 2. He currently sits in the 6th spot. So we'll see what he's got when he comes to the checkered flag down by the grass. Coleman going to go to the 2nd spot, just about a 4, a 25.52. We knew he was going to be good, just not quite enough to knock Brian Voss off the top spot. Looks like everybody but Chase Robertson has taken a lap. So it looks like we might be grabbing a word from our fast qualifier, Brian Voss, in just a moment, folks. So as qualifying concludes, we will head to a quick commercial break before we return here on the WD Broadcasting Network. On True Sim Productions. This is Winston Deal from the WD Broadcasting Network. We will return shortly.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we are back here on True Sim Productions. This is Winston Deal from the WD Broadcasting Network. We've got our fast qualifier, Brian Voss, up in the booth with us. Brian, new season, more competition, way bigger car count. You still find a way to get up onto the top spot. Tell me how you did it.
I think we just found a way to wrap the bottom there and find some speed. I don't know the longevity, how it'll be there in the long run. Hopefully just keep the right rear tire on it. Seems to be a pretty free balance, but we shall see, I guess.
Yeah, 85 laps. How do you plan to keep the tires underneath it? Obviously, pack racing here at the Rockingham Speedway, it's going to be hard to keep that lead at some points with runs coming on either side, but what can you do to try and keep the tires and keep that track position throughout the race?
Just drive it straight. I think you just got to drive it in straight, come off straight, keep that wheel as straight as possible. Don't hear that tire squeal, and also just try to not find yourself in heated battles for no reason early on.
Alrighty, well, sounds like you got a game plan figured out, and maybe we'll grab a word from you some point during the race, but we wish you luck.
All right, man, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. That was Brian Voss, your pole sitter. I forgot how to talk there for just a minute, but we should be back and ready to go. We're going to have 85 laps here at the Rockingham Speedway. Connor, are you excited?
I am very excited. Still getting the jitters out here up in the booth. Not very often I'm in here, but, you know, this is going to be a blast for sure.
Yeah, as the field makes their way through turns 3 and 4, they're behind the safety of the Bad Company Racing pace car. Brian Voss, Justin Coleman, Alex Harris, Matt Cox, your top 4. Pace car is going to make its way to the safety of pit road here as it takes that hard left turn. We're going to go through the Mr. All-Time Gaming restart zone, and for the first time in Season 3 of the All-Star Racing League, we are green flag and racing down into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, Brian Voss and Justin Coleman. Yeah, Justin Coleman, sorry. As they go down the backstretch, you know, side by side. Justin Coleman on his outside, right on that rear quarter panel, as these boys are definitely racing. No doubt about it.
Yeah, you can see him go through the bumps in turns 3 and 4. Brian Voss going to lead lap 1 from the pole, but going through the bumps in turns 3 and 4, the couple cars shot up the racetrack in different directions, so these cars are definitely going to be a handful, and it's only going to get more difficult once we put more laps on these tires. Ooh, in the wall, Ryan Zimmerman in the 28 machine. Tagged to the right side right there. Looks like a little donut on the right rear tire, but not too much damage as we battle for the 3rd spot.
Yeah, as you guys start to see the cars starting to file out here, as we did talk about, you know, pack racing at this racetrack, and it's going to play a factor when it comes to this, you know, the draft. And as you see Matt Cox peeking on the inside, or no, sorry, Alex Harris peeking in the inside of Matt Cox.
Yeah, Brandon Elvis now sneaking by. Cox was able to move up into that 3rd spot. Here comes the defending champ, Brandon Elvis, trying to sneak his way into the top 4. He's underneath Alex Harris right now in the 13 machine. Kyle Wellman as well, taking a peek. Looks like the top spot, or the top side, not the spot to be here early on.
No, definitely not. Definitely a lot of these guys are bottom feeding for positions, but you know, you just don't want to find yourself on that top side. As we do have a caution on the speedway. Not sure what happened. We'll go
Looks
ahead
like
and take a look.
Jesse Hook in the 61 machine was around in turns 3 and 4. Not quite sure what happened, but we'll take a look at it real quick, and we will be back here on True Sim Productions. Alrighty, folks, here's another look at it as they head down the back straightaway. You see Dalton Creech, Jesse Hook battling right there. Back. And just a little bit of contact going in the corner, just kind of met in the middle there, and the 61 machine ends up spinning right through traffic. I think everybody was able to avoid as he blinked out right there, but, you know, nonetheless, under caution for the first time here tonight.
Yeah, as Jesse Hook does go down pit road to, you know, fix up those repairs we did talk about, but from what it looks like, he did use his fast repair already, but that car does look pretty damaged. So we'll definitely have to see how that, you know, using that fast repair pretty early is going to affect him later in this race.
Yeah, definitely not what you wanted to see. And, you know, inside of the first 10 laps, you definitely do not want to use that fast repair in an 85 lap race. And this is going to be a pretty long race. You know, 85 laps might not seem that long on paper, but this track's a mile in length. We're running 25-second laps. It's going to be some time, and using that fast repair early has got to be frustrating for Jesse Hook.
Yeah, as you see, Dalton Creech and Jesse Hook getting that EOL penalty. Gonna have to be sent to the tail. Definitely not what you wanted, especially at this racetrack.
Yeah, track position going to be hard to make up. It's still early on, and obviously an experience for these guys to learn from and try and not put themselves in a situation like that later in the race. But I think it's recoverable. We're still inside of the first 10 laps. So, but as you said, the EOL right there. Both cars involved in cautions here in the All-Star Racing League go to the tail of the field. I don't believe they make any kind of judgment decisions, so there is consistency there. As the lights are off of the Bad Company Racing pace car, and Brian Boss, Justin Coleman about to bring us back to green.
Yeah, as the Bad Company Racing pace car will go down, you know, that pit lane as we enter the Mr. All-Time Gaming Restart Zone, as we are green flag for the second time here at Rockingham Speedway.
Voss got a really good jump that time around. Coleman going to be back lined up with his teammate Elvis a little bit sideways through the corner, though. Matt Cox going to get an opportunity here to go to the second spot. He's got to run down the back straightaway, but Coleman's going to pull even. They're going to be dead even through turns 3 and 4. Coleman up top, Cox down low. They're using up a lot of the apron, which is it's a little bit shocking to me because when I've ran the super late models here, if you get on that apron, it's really slippery. But obviously, these late model stocks a little bit less power. There's contact. Cox into the wall down the back straightaway on top of Brandon Elvis's 54, and back up in front of the field. A couple other cars collected. Alex Harris involved. Justin Coleman backed up into the wall. He's got some front end damage. And we saw it on the center of our screen right there. Just a kind of a disagreement of where the two were. Cox with some pretty heavy damage, smoke coming out of the back of the 51. We'll take another look at it here and return here shortly on True Sim Productions. right, so here's another look at it, folks. Off the corner, it looks like Coleman kind of shot down the racetrack. Not sure if he got loose or if he just expected a little bit, or Cox to be down a little bit further, but nonetheless, contact between the two. A couple other cars collected, but looks like the only real big damage was the 51 machine of Matt Cox. So we're going to be back under yellow for the second time here tonight. As pit stops underway. Couple cars coming down pit road. Brandon Elvis in the 54. He's going to come down pit road. Obviously some damage on his race car as the 51 of Matt Cox was on the hood of it.
Yeah, an interesting wreck for sure. Definitely curious to, get Brandon Elvis's input on that. But as of right now, Brandon Elvis is to the rear of the field. As Winston did talk about before, any cars that were involved in the wreck do get sent to the rear. But as of right now,
tower up on the left side of the screen so you guys can get a feel for track position. But Jesse Hook and Dalton Creech both back up inside the top 20 already after that incident, so track position not too difficult to make up.
no, definitely not. But so I do believe we are 1 to green here. Lights off the pace car. Brian Voss still your leader as we are 12 laps in here at Rockingham. These guys are putting on a good show so far. Couple of cautions here and there, but first race of the season for these guys and getting the jitters out. But I'll let Winston take you guys to green.
Yeah, they're moving through turns 3 and 4. Right here behind the safety of the Bad Company Racing pace car. It's going to make that hard left turn on a pit road and send us back to racing. Kyle Wellman up on the top side. We'll see if he can get a better start than Justin Coleman in the 14 machine as they make their way through the Mr. All-Time Gaming restart zone. And we're back racing once again. Voss with another good start. He's got almost a car length as they go into the corner. Or sorry, he's almost clear as they go in the corner. And he does end up getting out in front. Here comes Jonathan Atkins in the 17. That third place car is kind of in a money spot. He gets right up next to Kyle Wellman on that start. He's battling for the second spot.
Yeah, as they are even through turns 3 and 4 coming down the front stretch. Brian Voss will still be your leader, but give the second position to Jonathan Atkins.
Yeah, close battling there. Nearly contact through the center of the corner. They're giving each other plenty of room down the straightaways, but these corners just get narrowed going down in there. You see the 17 on the bottom, the 42 holding them pretty tight there.
Yeah, as they go down the front stretch, looking like Kyle Wellman will take back the second position on the top. We did talk about that bottom side being dominant, but as you can see, Kyle Wellman making that top side work, battling for the second position with Jonathan Atkins, as you see Daniel Sweat in that P4 position, looking to see what he can do here with these boys battling in front of him, as Kyle Wellman will still be in that second position, Winston.
Yeah, you saw right when they got side by side, Wellman and Atkins, the cars behind just crept right up, and they were right there all of a sudden. Daniel Sweat was about 5 car lengths back from them, and right when they got side by side, it took him about a lap and a half to reel them in. So you see Wellman's able to make the move work up top, and I think as we get further into this race, that top line could be more and more effective. As you see Tim Trowbridge out back trying to use the way high side in that 6th spot right now in the 74.
Yeah, these tires, as Tim Trowbridge gets into the outside retaining wall as they go down the front stretch, as he battles with the 04 of Caleb Thompson, is almost make a little contact. But as for your race leader Brian Voss, it's all sunshine and rainbows for him out front. Not really much competition out there as of right now, but we are only 18 laps in to this race.
Yeah, Brian Voss out front doing Brian Voss things. If you watched any of the All-Star Racing League last season on the WWE Broadcasting Network on Facebook, there was a lot of this similar kind of thing. The race leader of the 55 machine, he was out front and stretched out quite a bit, and it looked like everybody else was battling for second. We'll see if he's able to keep this up throughout the race, but right now looking pretty good here. Just under 20 laps complete.
Yeah, as you guys start to see the car starting to file in here, single file, not much battling going on as of right now, but tires not really playing a factor as of right now. Times really haven't really dropped off that much. But yeah, no, definitely interesting for Brian Voss, as he way out there, way out there, as he is almost about a second and a half in front of your second place car.
Yeah, second and a half in front. And you mentioned the lap times there, Connor. He's got 2/10 on the entire field, so definitely a lot of speed there in the 55 as we got a battle going on for the 4th spot. Brian Zimmerman down low, Daniel Sweat up top.
Yeah,
28 machine, the Davey Allison look to it. It's got a beautiful gold shine and it reflects off the racetrack pretty nicely going through the corners, but he's going to sneak his way up into the 4th spot. So we got a battle between Brandon Mettler and Daniel Sweat. Ooh, nearly contact. They moved up the racetrack, thought they were going to touch, but they didn't. Looks like Sweat's going to hang on for now.
Yeah, a little contact with the outside wall for Daniel Sweat, but as of right now, he only loses 1 position to that 28 car, Brian Zimmerman. But as of right now, like I said before, single file. But definitely some good racing going on. Not really expected, as a spectator for these cars, at least at this track, because you don't really see these cars, at this track very often. Not at all, Winston.
Yeah, there have been a couple Cars Tour late model stock races here. I've never really watched any of them myself. I guess I could have done a little bit of research to know what I was getting into, but the racing that we've seen has been pretty cool so far because these guys are having such a hard time holding it next to each other that we see near contact every time, so it's creating some pretty cool moments. And we're just 24 laps into this 85 lap event.
Yeah, we do have a battle for the 6th position with Brandon Mettler and Tim Trowbridge, as they are side by side entering turns 1 and 2. Wow, Brandon Mettler files back in front of or behind that 74 of Tim Trowbridge, as they will go down into turns 3 and 4.
Yes, back up in front of him, Brian Zimmerman trying to get to the inside of Jonathan Atkins. This is for the 3rd spot. So the 28 was able to get around. Sweat in the 07 contact there. Luckily, he was able to hang on to it. He came up the racetrack, and I think the 17 at Atkins might have gotten a little bit loose off the 2nd corner, and they just met in the middle. And luckily, both drivers were able to hang on and not go spinning down the back straightaway. But a good battle here inside the top 5 with 27 in.
Yeah, definitely some good battling. Good good battling with these guys in this All-Star Racing League. As I watched them one time last year in the booth, and definitely did put on a show for the fans watching as of right now. But as for your leader, Brian Voss, he is stretched his lead out to almost 3 seconds in front of the rest of the field.
Yeah, 3 seconds on lap 28. We've been green for about 20 laps now. Or sorry, about 15 laps now. And he's been able to stretch that lead out to 3 seconds. And you got to think these guys out back are going to be so far behind on tire strategy because, Voss mentioned earlier in this broadcast, he's not going to push too hard, and he's going to try and run his own race and set his pace. And he's obviously won races before. He's got an idea of how the tires might wear, so he's going to be looking pretty towards the later stages of this race, especially with the way these guys are using up their tires in the top 5.
Yeah, definitely interesting for him to say that not really going to push it too hard, and then he stretches his lead to almost 3 seconds to your 2nd place guy. And as we get another battle between Brandon Mettler trying to look on the inside of Tim Trowbridge as they go down into turns 1 and 2. Trowbridge way up there, as we talked about prior, as almost contact with Daniel Sweat as he looks on the top side of him in the 07 cars. They are side by side entering turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, Connor, this battle for the second spot, and it's not just the second spot. It's more around the top 5. These guys keep going in and out, getting different runs, and it's pretty exciting to watch because you never really know who's going to make a run off of which corner. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And if the track position gets mixed up later in this race, which I'm assuming it will, it's going to be exciting as we have a caution flag. Not quite sure what happened. Gonna try and find out, but we will grab a replay of what exactly happened and be right back here in just a moment here on True Sim Productions. All right, folks. So we're about back green, but me and Connor spent the last 5 minutes or the last couple minutes trying to find the cause of the issue or the cause of the caution, but we couldn't find it. Brandon Elvis and Justin Elvis, the Elvis brothers, both received EOLs, but I wasn't able to locate any kind of incident. So iRacing could have had a bug, or it could have just been out of my render distance. Not quite sure, but nonetheless, after a couple pit stops, we are getting ready to go back racing. Through the Mr. All-Time Gaming restart zone will be Jonathan Atkins and Tim Trowbridge leading us to green. Somebody gets hooked out back. It was Kyle Wellman. That's going to bring us right back under yellow. You saw it there right at the top of your screen. We'll get another look. But under yellow once again. Alrighty, folks, we are back here with the replay of what just happened. You saw Wellman was hooked right there on the restart. A couple cars with some damage, but nothing too major. Gonna be back under the yellow flag. I do apologize. I didn't have my mic on. Thought I did. Ended up not having it on. So under caution for the 4th time. And Connor on that, not this past caution, but the one before that, we saw a race leader, Brian Voss, pit pretty early on, not even to halfway. What are your thoughts on that?
I was kind of flabbergasted, honestly. You know, like he was putting on a clinic on these guys, almost stretching out to 4 seconds, and for him to go down pit road like that, it kind of caught me off guard personally. But I mean, maybe that's a strategy. He obviously, you don't want to tell the whole people that your racing strategy and stuff like that. But it did really catch me off guard. But as for Jonathan Atkins, I'm sure he is kicking his feet in his sim rig currently, as he is now the race leader.
Yeah, I would have thought if I was a 55, I would have thought that he would have stayed on the racetrack as long as he could, especially with the lead that he had. So definitely an interesting call, but he makes the decisions, obviously. He's going to be in the 8th spot. Everybody behind him pretty much came in right there. A couple guys just came in this caution, so that's going to get him some more track position. But of the guys that pit on lap 32, he is the 3rd of them. You see Zach Murphy and Brian Zimmerman both sneaking ahead of him, so maybe different tire strategy there, but definitely an early stop. My assumption is left sides, and then he'll come down and get right sides later. But Rockingham, not really a track you got to worry about 4 tires at, so, or getting 4 tires down in pit road, I should say.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, with this tire strategy, what's your personal preference with these cars when it comes to taking 2 compared to 4?
It really just depends on how much you slide the tires throughout the run. If you really feel like you're sliding the left side tires, then you should probably get left sides to get that grip off the corner. But if you aren't having trouble getting off the corner and getting into the corner, then left sides may not be in big trouble for you. Now, if you're struggling with overall grip, like you're going in the corner full wheel slide, 100% have to get left side tires to improve the handling of the race car.
Yeah, as you guys see, the Bad Company Racing pace car lights are off as we will go green this time by for your leader Jonathan Atkins. He will take a screen, and on his outside will be Donnie. Sorry if I pronounced this wrong. Batiste.
Sounds good to me. Hey,
not really good at pronouncing names.
My experience is if we get it wrong, they'll text me about it a couple days later, and we'll get it figured out the next week. But lights are off on the Bad Company Racing pace car, and we're about to get back going racing. Yeah,
as they come through turns 3 and 4, that pace car will take a hard left into the, sorry, lost my train of thought.
There's no name for pit lane. You're good.
Okay.
Through the Mr. All-Time Gaming restart zone, we're back green. Atkins got a good start right there. Batiste in the 67. Gonna have to slot back in line. Here comes Matt Cox in the 51. He was up here earlier on before that incident down the back straightaway with Justin Coleman.
Yeah, as you see Brian Voss, really, those tires are really playing a factor as he currently sits in your P5 position currently, as they will come around through turns 3 and 4. As your leader still consists of Jonathan Atkins.
Yeah, everybody from about 7th on back is double file somewhere throughout the field. Everybody running all over the racetrack here as we take a look at the field down the back straightaway. The latter half of the field, definitely a lot of side-by-side action.
Yeah, as Justin Coleman sliding up a little bit for that.
We're gonna try 3 wide. Looks like we're 3 wide. Thinking about 4 down the front straightaway. Ronald Judd on the inside in the 21 machine. Brandon Elvis, your champion last season, wasn't trying to be patient right there. He went through the middle down the front straightaway and ended up getting a couple positions there for the price of 1.
Yeah, definitely interesting. That's for sure. As we look back up front, Brian Voss looking in the inside of Brian Zimmerman for that, fourth position. As I mean, those tires are really playing a factor as we question, but as Brian Zimmerman gets the run off of turns 1 and 2 as they enter 3 and 4. Looks like Brian's gonna hold off a little bit.
As we're past halfway right there. The last time by we were past halfway, so it's time to maybe think about setting yourself up for those last 10 laps, trying to be in the front. We've seen the leader able to get out to a decent-sized lead twice now. Jonathan Adkins, who was battling for the, I believe, third spot before that set of pit stops. Now he's out front, kind of stretching out that lead.
Yeah, no doubt. As you start to see your field starting to single file, not really much battling going on, but we are 45 laps in. But Justin Elvis starting to peak on the inside of Ronald Judd, as that top side's really working out for that 21 car, as he does get the runoff and clears himself, as he currently sits in that 21st position.
Can we jump up front and, once again, it just looks like it's a battle for the second place spot. These guys not really able to get up to your race leader just yet. But everybody kind of peeking in and out, trying to see where they can get their nose. We'll have 46 in the books this time around.
So we got a battle for your 10th position with Nick Buddy and Justin Coleman as they enter down into turns 1 and 2. Justin sending it in, sliding all forward just a little bit as Nick.
Oh, they're wrecking behind
we
him.
have a caution.
Yeah, they're wrecking behind him. Looks like Larry Bell in the 43. Big contact. Kyle Wellman right there. Everybody trying to get in late. We saw at the very right side of your screen, Larry Bell in the 43 went around. I'm not quite sure if he got tagged or maybe he got sideways, but we'll take another look at it here and see if we can find what happened. So it looks like it happened on the exit right there. Rab Hattenback in the 99 just comes down the racetrack a little bit. Dalton Creech nowhere to go. The 43 goes around. The 42 comes in hot and gets some big time hang time in the 42. So Wellman going to be a lap down here after that contact. Larry Bell with some big damage in the 43. You see it kind of dog walking down the front stretch. Not going to be a fun trip to pit lane. Yeah, not going to be a fun trip to pit lane for the 43 machine. You see the 42, Kyle Wellman, right there in front of your race leader. Not able to get it back going before the pace car came back around, but some front end damage. I don't know how bad it is.
Yeah, as for your race leader, Jonathan Atkins, he goes down pit lane, and he will give, and Matt Cox, my apologies, as the leader now will be Brian Zimmerman. And as for your race leader early on, Brian Voss peeks his way into the second position, as that tire strategy, like he talked about, really playing a factor here. As pace car does still have his lights on, so we will not be going green as they are in turns 1 and 2, as we will pace around for a little bit as these cars will manage their way down pit road. Fixing up some damages from that previous wreck.
Okay, I got my mic turned back on. I got a mic that lights up when I turn it on and off for a reason, and I still can't look at the color of the lights. So I'm back, and I am actually talking to an audience now. But like I was saying to my room, Brian Voss was still that net P1 He was still net P1. If you maybe aren't familiar with that term, he came down first into the pits. So in theory, he's going to cycle out to be the leader once everybody makes a pit stop. So he's in that second spot now, but being the first person to come down pit road, you got to wonder if maybe he's going to have a little bit more heat in the tires working his way back up through the field like this.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously it worked out for Brian Voss when he went down pit road, but Jonathan Atkins will sit in the P14 position as they come to another green flag. As can't find the base car. There it is. My apologies. As the lights are off, as they go down the backstretch. And that Bad Company Racing pace car. Definitely been out a few times this race, as we had some incidents with this race, but as of right now, these boys will put on a show for you guys. As I'll let Winston take you guys to green.
Yeah, they worked their way through turns 3 and 4 to be Brian Zimmerman and Brian Voss. The Brian Show on the front row. Zach Murphy, Alex Harris going to be behind him through the Mr. All-Time Gaming restart zone. And we are back racing. A good start by Brian Zimmerman down low. Voss definitely going to be there up top going into turns 1 and 2. Here comes Zach Murphy, going to try and take advantage of that good start he got and move up into the second spot as they work down the back.
Yeah, we have talked about, this race a few times about, starting in that third position, as it most of the time, helps out when it comes to these restarts, as Brian's way up the track up there, as he tries to get a runoff, as he will file back in for that P3 position.
Yeah, he was way up the racetrack, but now he's way down low, taking a peek to the inside for the second spot. A big crossover move by Brian Voss, and he's going to have the positioning down the back straightaway to make this pass into turns 3 and 4. We'll see if he's able to do so.
As they enter turns 3 and 4, Brian on the bottom, Zach Murphy on the bottom, as they are 3 wide almost for that P3 position, or P4 position, sorry. As Justin Coleman will take that P4 position, and Alex Harris in that 13 up top in that 54 car of Brendan Elvis as they go down the backstretch. As Alex will file in here as we are 54 laps in here at Rockingham Speedway.
Brian Voss going to slot back into the third spot. He's got Murphy in front of him. He almost made a big move there, crossing over from the top to the bottom, but he wasn't able to keep that momentum up down low. So he's going to be in that third spot for now. And behind him, ECR teammates Justin Coleman, Brandon Elvis, they're sitting right there, kind of in the catbird seat of this battle for the third spot, as Coleman maybe takes a peek to the inside of Brian Voss for the third.
Yeah, as those two teammates, Brandon Elvis and Justin Coleman, those guys are sitting currently P4 and P5, as these guys are looking to have some speed, trying to look for that number 1 position. But as for your leader, he's stretched his lead out to about half a second, and that leader currently is Brian Zimmerman.
Ooh, the caution flag is out. Matt Cox around in the 51 on the front straightaway. Not quite sure what happened, but he is around out of turns 3 and 4. We'll take another look at it here and return in one moment on True Sim Productions. So here's the replay. Looks like Kyle Wellman in the 42 just grabbed the left rear quarter right there of Matt Cox, sent him spinning off of turns 3 and 4. Luckily didn't grab the barrels down there on the end of pit road, and he's able to continue on. Just maybe a little bit of flat spotting on the tires. So we'll come back to our live camera here. Brian Zimmerman, still your race leader.
Yeah, going back to Matt Cox, he started his day out really well, battling for the lead almost, sitting in that P2, P3 position is definitely not the day he wanted as of right now, but, race is not quite over yet. We still have about roughly 25 laps left to go here as your Coleman design halfway leader a little while ago, which me and Winston completely missed. We apologize for that. But as for your race leader, Brian Zimmerman, looking very comfortable in that 28 car.
Yeah, he's had a good race so far. I mean, he came from the 6th spot so far, but if you look back behind him, Zach Murphy is coming from the 18th spot on the grid right now. He's running in that 2nd spot. And it looks like he's got some speed. He held off Brian Voss under that short little green flag run, but I'm sure Brian Voss not quite ready to, maybe show the whole hand.
No, definitely not. I mean, I don't remember when Brian Zimmerman went down pit lane, if he did. Winston, you're gonna have to help me with that.
He came down with Brian Voss. Same thing with Zach Murphy. They actually gained the position on Brian Voss down pit road. So I don't know if they took 2, Brian Voss took 4, but your front 2 leapfrogged Brian Voss, your early race leader, on pit road on lap 32. We're 26 laps to go right here. So pit stops could be out the window. Based on how we've seen track position play out so far, it's going to be difficult inside of 26 to go to it's going to be difficult to get back up through the field if you do have to pit.
Yeah, most definitely.
21 cars on the lead lap. It'll definitely be a task if you do have to come back down pit road.
Yeah, definitely not what you really want to happen here in this later stage of this race, but pace, I keep forgetting, my bad. The Bad Company Racing pace car, my apologies, will come down the front stretch, which I do believe we should be 1 to green this time by, as we will see here in a second, as they do turn off, as we will be going green this time by.
Yeah, the field's going to double up behind the Bad Company Racing pace car. It'll be Brian Zimmerman and Zach Murphy leading us to the green.
Yeah, we have talked about that.
And Coleman as well. They're putting up a good show for the 3rd spot, Connor.
They are, and as we talked about that 3rd spot, that 3rd spot's definitely where you want to be for these restarts, and Brian Voss is sitting right where he probably most likely wants to be as they head down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4 here at the 61 lap mark. Winston, take it from here.
You mentioned the 3rd spot where Brian Voss wants to be. He lost that 2nd spot from Zach Murphy on that last restart from the 3rd spot. So we'll see if Voss is able to, leapfrog back into that 2nd position. But Bad Company Racing pace car is going to dip onto pit road, and the field will make their way through the Mr. All-Time Gaming restart zone, and we are going to be back racing at Rockingham. Great start down low from Brian Zimmerman. Murphy not so much on top. He's going to be able to get back down the line, though. So Murphy going to settle into the 2nd spot. Voss going to maintain 3rd. Coleman going to have to fill in behind him as they work down the back straightaway. Looks like we had one go around out back, but it was Jesse Hook, and it looks like he reset his car to the pit, so we will stay green here. 23 to go at the line.
Yeah, as these guys start to file in here, as they enter turns 1 and 2, Brian Zimmerman not really getting much breathing room from Zach Murphy in that, 2nd place position, as Brian Voss is doing the same with Zach Murphy, as, Brian really looking forward to putting that car in victory lane, as any of these guys do, as the yellow flag does come out.
Yellow flag comes back out. Some cars spinning in turns 3 and 4. Looks like Jason Bauer and the 9 machine went around out back, and they were still beating and banging off of the exit of 4. So we'll take a real quick look at what happened and return here shortly on True Sim Productions. So here's another look at it right there. The 9 machine, Jason Bauer, gets tagged by Tim Trowbridge in the 74. Luckily, ooh, Matt Cox barely snuck by on the outside right there, but luckily everybody able to make it through safely and see another day. But Brian Zimmerman up front, he's got the race lead for right now, but Connor, as you mentioned right before we went yellow, those guys were really tight on his back bumper. That's the closest we've seen the second place car to your race leader in that, short of a run. So definitely heating up here in the later stages of this one. We'll have 20 to go at the line right here. Connor, where do you think the possibilities to end this race or to win this race, where do you think that line cuts off? Will we see somebody come from outside the top 5, outside the top 10 even? What are you thinking?
Honestly, it just depends on how many green flag runs we get. A lot of these cautions will set these guys back, when it comes to momentum, even because these cars are really momentum based. Takes a minute for these guys to get going. But it wouldn't surprise me, with this All-Star Racing League. These guys are very talented, as you know, Daniel Sweat and Jonathan Adkins, those guys in P7 and P8, those guys are definitely competitors for this race win, but it just all depends on how many green flag runs we get. And other than that, yeah, I think what's really going to take, to win this race is, keeping your head on your shoulders and dialing in for these last, double handful of laps.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting as these top 3 have shown a lot of speed throughout the entire race, and really this whole top 5 is a really talented group of people. You got champion from last year, Brandon Elvis, 6 wins on the season last year. Justin Coleman, who has 5 wins on the season last year. Brian Voss had 3 wins on the season last year. Zach Murphy and Brian Zimmerman making the call for season 3. They've got speed here tonight. I mean, it's looking to be a pretty exciting finish here with 19 to go and the lights off on the Bad Company Racing pace car.
Yeah, as you guys are aware, Zach Murphy coming up from, 18th on the grid. You got to think, he's really been driving that car really well here. And he's really hungry for that win, especially starting from where he started. His confidence is probably boosted. He's, starting from 18th and, climbing up your way all the way up to, that P2 position. Not very easy. iRacing or even in real life, and it's not the easiest, especially here,
So the lights off of the Bad Company Racing pace car. We're going to work our way through turns 3 and 4 for a final time before we get them back green flag racing under this yellow flag. As the field makes their way through turns 3 and 4, the pace car going to dive to the safety of pit road. And with 18 laps to go, we are back racing here at Rockingham. Zimmerman got a good start there on the bottom. Murphy's going to be able to get in behind him, though. So Brian Voss going to be stuck to battle with Justin Coleman up top for the 3rd spot. Down the back, Murphy gets a good run. He's going to be there on the back bumper of Brian Zimmerman into turns 3 and 4. What can he do?
Not sure. This battle for, that P3 position is really going to set back Brian Voss as he looks like to get clear. No, still peeks and nose in as Justin Coleman still battling on that top side for that P3 position, but as they go down the backstretch, looks like Brian Voss is going to get clear of that 14 machine for that P3 position.
Yeah, going into turns 3 and 4 here. Everybody tight there in the top 5. Ooh, Coleman shot up the racetrack. Not sure if he got loose or just got a run one of the outside there, but 16 to go. Everybody nose to tail in the top 5. A great show here.
Yeah, no doubt. As Brian Zimmerman getting no breathing room as the caution flag does fly out once more.
Yeah, Justin Elvis around down the back straightaway. Rob Hattenback as well in the 99. Not sure who else was collected, but Justin Elvis was in that 17th spot. We'll take a look at what happened here in return on True Sim Productions. All right. So here's another look right here down the back. Oh, it looks like they... that's a tough call to make right there in the judging what happened. But it looked like to me what happened was they made a little bit of contact off the corner, and it got Justin Elvis a little bit loose in the 44, and then they just met in the middle there, and both went spinning. Luckily, not too much damage there for Rab Hattenback or Justin Elvis in the 4 machine, but under caution once again.
Yeah, as in that last green flag run, we noticed that Brian Zimmerman really wasn't getting any breathing room from that, second position of Zach Murphy, but he's really, really glad that these cautions are coming out because it's really saving his race, as Zach Murphy and Brian Voss are giving him no room when it comes to keeping that lead.
Yeah, and Connor, you said they haven't had too much space to him, but still they're not getting to him in the corner. They're not getting to him going into the corners, and most importantly, they're behind going into the first corner. It's going to take a good restart from either Zach Murphy or Brian Voss to dethrone Brian Zimmerman here with 13 to go.
Yeah, no doubt. From racing personally on iRacing, I know when I see a guy in my rear view mirror and he's pretty close, it definitely makes me nervous, starts to make me miss lines. But as for Brian Zimmerman, he's having no issue keeping that car where he wants it. Not pushing up, not leaving the bottom open or anything like that. He's keeping that lead no matter how he has to do it.
Yeah, we're going to have 12 to go at the line right here. All these guys doing a good job of keeping their cars under control. We've had a couple spins, a couple wrecks. We've had 8 caution flags to this point. So hopefully we can keep it under 10 before the end of this one. But the lights are off on the Bad Company Racing pace car. We're going to be sending them green next time by with 11 to go, Connor.
Definitely going to be interesting with the 10 laps, 11 laps to go. If we do get a green flag run, it's definitely going to be interesting, for the fans in the broadcast currently, as that Bad Company race car, or Bad Company Racing pace car, comes down the backstretch. Lights are off. We will be going green this time by. Winston, you got to think, if you're Brian Voss, you really need a good restart here. And if you don't get it, what's going through your head?
You got to remember that if you don't get a good start here, there's still 12 to go, and there's still an opportunity for another yellow. So if you're Brian Voss, the not a good start here isn't the end of the world, but you definitely got to think towards once we wind this clock down to 0, you don't want to be the guy that didn't take the opportunity when he had it. So Voss gonna creep up here and try and get a good start as they head through the Mr. All-Time Gaming restart zone. A little bit better of a start that time by Voss. He's gonna have an opening into turns 1 and 2 and be able to battle for that second spot.
Yeah, most definitely the restart Brian was looking for if he really wants to win this race is Zach Murphy giving him no room off of that corner, pinching him down just a little bit as the 54, Brandon Elvis, really closing in on that back bumper of Brian Voss as they come out of turns 3 and 4.
Voss
looks like you're going to
run.
Yeah, give that position to Brian Voss.
Yeah, Zach Murphy's going to get it back down the backstretch. Here comes Justin Coleman way up top. Look at him getting a big run there. He's going to try and go back up to the wall here into turns 3 and 4. He's tucking right behind Zach Murphy. The 14 machine's not quite done here with 10 to go. Make it 9 at the line.
Yeah, and if you're Brandon Zimmerman, you're really loving this battling behind him because it's really slowing these guys up. But as for Brandon Voss, this guy's really good here. Any track on the schedule, he's really good. As they come down the back stretches, he's almost clear of, that 29 car of Zach Murphy.
Yeah, Voss going to be clear for the second spot. Here comes Justin Coleman battling as well. He's going to have an opening down the front straightaway. Justin Coleman trying to make his way into the top 3 with 8 to go. Voss was able to get that second spot. He's going to have a run on your race leader, Brian Zimmerman. They are bumper to bumper down the back straightaway. Zimmerman trying to move to the bottom side to break that draft a little bit. But they are nose to tail through turns 3 and 4. They battle behind him. Coleman going to get around Zach Murphy. Here comes Brandon Elvis as well. Jonathan Adkins up top in the 17. Everybody's swarming Zach Murphy right now. In the 29, Coleman gets tagged. He spins, Elvis spins, everybody piling in into turns 1 and 2. Elvis is going to go up and over as well. A bad wreck into 1 and 2. And it was just getting good, and everybody was just racing tight right there, and it just got a little bit too hectic up in the top 5. We'll take another look at what happened here on True Sim Productions. So here we are back for another look at it here. And going into turns 1 and 2, just a disagreement on space between the teammates there. And everybody piles in. You see Zach Murphy, Daniel Sweat as well. Tim Trowbridge, Matt Cox there on the bottom. Justin Elvis coming in late, the 43 of Larry Bell. Everybody collecting a piece of that one. But we go back up front real quick. Connor, you can go. I got to get the stream going back to the front.
No, you're good. As your championship, winner last year, Brendan Elvis, will retire his race car, as well as his teammate Justin Coleman, as they definitely not what they were looking forward to, coming, to the haywire of this, last race. And I keep saying, I apologize.
Yeah, very unfortunate there for the two of them, both coming off of great championship caliber seasons. They were right there, both of them in points, and not a good way to start this first race. But we got 12 more weeks for these guys to come back and make their way back up into the point standings, but not a good start in race 1. Obviously, though, success from both of them last season. You can expect to see them back up running for wins through the coming weeks. But we got 4 to go, Connor. 9 cautions so far. Do you think we go into overtime?
I do. These guys are gonna, they're gonna get slicey and dicey. These guys are, they really want to win this race just as much as anybody else here. And, as we talked about restarts when it comes to these, caution flag runs, Brian Voss is going to be starting on that outside pole. He's going to need a good restart to be able to put himself in a position to win this race. And, Jonathan Atkins makes his way back up in that P3 position. Position 3, yep. Wow. Winston, you go ahead. Go ahead, Winston.
Yeah, Zimmerman going to lead us to the stripe right here. I believe we'll be getting the 1 to go signal, but as you mentioned, Brian Voss going to have to capitalize on this restart. He got a good restart last time, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult being lined up on the outside versus right behind Brian Zimmerman. But we'll see what he's able to do here, as we're going to have a green-white checkered finish when we come back.
Yeah, as the Bad Company Racing pace car will turn his lights off, as we talked about all day, that position 3 starting spot is critical on these restarts. And if you're Jonathan Atkins, you really got to be, happy to be in that position. But as for Nick Buddy, though, he is sitting in that position 4, and he started in 17th. So good run for him, as they will go down into turns 3 and 4. Winston, take him to green.
We're going to have a green-white checkered finish. The lights are off. The stage is set. Brian Zimmerman, Brian Voss. The Voss show on the front row. Adkins and Biddy behind him. We're going to go through the Mr. All-Time Gaming restart zone. There goes the Bad Company Racing pace car down to pit road, through the zone. We are back racing. Zimmerman gets a great start. Here comes Jonathan Adkins looking to the bottom. He's going to have a good run into turns 1 and 2. Voss is going to have to fall back into 3rd. What can Jonathan Atkins say? about this top spot, though. He's going to have a good run down the back. They're going to come to the white flag, Connor. Into turns 3 and 4.
Turns 3 and 4 is Brian Zimmerman really hugging the bottom, not letting anybody down there, as he is really trying to, you know, not let that position go. As
Adkins gets the spot up top. He's going to have an advantage down the backstretch. Voss going to go down low with Brian Zimmerman. They're going to be side by side into turns 3 and 4. Final time. Who's going to get it? It's going to be Adkins up top. Zimmerman down low. Here comes Voss, maybe making it a 3-car race at the line. It's going to be a photo finish. Give it to Brian Zimmerman by 1/100th of a second. A crazy finish here at Rockingham. A crazy race, Connor, capped off with a photo finish at the line. What more can you ask for?
You really can't. I mean, this All-Star Racing League is, you know, one of the best around when it comes to these, you know, late model stock guys. Great guys in this league, and they showed it today.
Yeah, Brian Zimmerman does a great job there on that final restart. Put himself in the right position. I thought that it was going to be Jonathan Atkins coming off of the corner, but it ended up being Brian Zimmerman holding tough on the bottom side of the racetrack. He's going to burn it down here on the front straightaway. We're going to head to a quick commercial break before we come back and get a word from our top 3 competitors. We will return here shortly on True Sim Productions.
Musket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on. Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and
my
to the
goodness.
line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Alrighty, folks, we are back here on the True Sim Productions YouTube channel. I am Winston Deal, your host from the WD Broadcasting Network on Facebook, getting ready to wrap things up here at the Rockingham Speedway. We're in the chat here with Brian Voss, our 3rd place finisher, as well as our fast qualifier here tonight. Brian ended up in the 3rd spot after a pretty eventful race. Let me know give me a rundown of that last 50 laps.
A lot of cautions that we didn't need. Just made the wrong call there. I thought with as free as it was going to use some more left rear tire than I was hoping, so I went ahead and took 4. I think Zippy took 2 there, and we just didn't need those cautions. We had a extremely good long run car. I think it showed on that first run. I mean, them guys were back there in the draft, and we were steady just chugging away. Just didn't need those cautions. Kind of killed us there at the end.
Yeah, a bit of a strand of cautions there once we got inside 30 laps to go, and you were able to still keep the 55 machine up into the 3rd spot, recovered nicely from pitting pretty early on, and worked your way back up, stayed out of the trouble. Definitely an important thing here tonight, but third place, anybody that you have to thank to help put you on the podium?
Yeah, I mean, you guys for broadcasting. Like I said, told you last season, I would continue to tell you guys did a great job, so we appreciate you coming back on board for this season. Crooked Line, All-Star, the merger, looking forward to running this season with you guys. Brandon, Dalton, Tanner, Justin, Rob, they all do a great job, so I'm happy to run with them. Then a few sponsors we got, Rain Total Body Fuel, fueled by Miller Lite. B-Dubs, Beer Money for the Crew. We got the crew going back. We're going to have some tomorrow night. Jay Lund and Teddy Bear, we got it.
Always fun for with Beer Money for the Crew, but third place here tonight. Congratulations on a good start to your season.
Thanks, sir.
Alrighty, folks. Brian Voss finishing in the third place spot here tonight after coming from the pole. Connor, we'll let you get a word from our second place finisher, Jonathan Atkins, if we can find him. There he is. So, Connor, talk to boy Johnny here.
Jonathan with a second place finish. You know, starting third. We talked about it all day today. Starting that in that third position was critical for these restarts. You know, give us a rundown from, you know, starting as far back as you did.
Well, I got to try to keep my nose clean as much as I could, and then I think those guys up front pitted about 15 laps before I did, so I had a little bit fresher tires, and it was so hard to pass on the bottom here. When he gave me the top, I was surprised and just kind of tried to hold it to the floor and roll around the top there. Just missed it by a bumper.
Yeah, definitely a great finish, you know, for the fans watching. And what was going through your head on that last restart?
Well, I wanted to make sure I timed it good and could clear the second place guy there. And once I got by him, I felt like I could at least had a shot at it. So
yeah,
like I said, if somebody could hold you on the bottom, it was really hard to make a pass. But once I got clear of him, I felt like I could go give the leader a shot anyway. And like I said, just missed it by just a hair.
Definitely one heck of a finish. But anybody you would like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Shock Eye Racing Performance, Speed Ranch, Miller Family Trucking, Studio 10 Wraps, and my smoking hot wife.
Congrats on the P2 finish there, Jonathan Atkins.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Alrighty, folks, that was Jonathan Atkins, your second place finisher. Now for the man of the hour, the winner of the photo finish right here, Brian Zimmerman, gonna be coming up into the booth. Brian, you got a copy?
Got you, Winston. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good after that one. That was a crazy finish there to a crazy race. A little bit of pit strategy played. I don't remember where exactly you were when you came down pit road. I know it was around that top 5 area, but lap 32, you come down pit road, you get 2 tires. What's going through your head there?
I had to do something to get in front of Brian. He was just super fast, and the only chance I had was to maybe take 2 tires and get out in front of him. It was not the fastest, but it was fast enough to stay out front. It's hard to pass here. I mean, you could see it. There's so much of a draft. I don't really like to race the way we raced tonight. You have to protect your line. You're having to do a lot of mirror driving, protect the bottom. Just can't let anybody get below you. And I still almost got past Jonathan and Brian. They both ran me so clean late. Nobody made any contact. Zach Murphy, I hate that he had some issues there towards the end because he was racing me really clean. We was having a really good race there. I hate that he had issues and wasn't able to finish up front. But man, yeah, it's just it's like a little Talladega here is what it kind of felt like with the draft and having to protect your line.
You have the comparison. Funny that you say that. The comparison I made was kind of like Atlanta and the Cup cars, like the new configuration of Atlanta. It's not quite, full throttle the whole time. Everybody's packed up together, but there's kind of like little packs and drafts that form everywhere, and it makes it really difficult to pass. But obviously you had the good strategy, and that was a really bold call, and I didn't know if it was going to work out, but obviously you held on to it at the end and finished in amazing fashion. Is there anybody that you have to thank that put you in victory lane here tonight?
Oh, definitely got to thank my brother-in-law, Andrew. He's always watching. His brother, Jonathan, they've been tuning in, so appreciate the broadcast that you do, and appreciate you coming on board doing the broadcast for us. But I'd like to give a shout-out to Barry Elvis, Fabrication. We appreciate him coming on, sponsoring the league. The All-Star forming the league for us and combining us all. It's been great that they've done that. I think we're going to have some really good racing this year, so I'd like to thank those guys. But I think the guys at Five Kings that I run with tonight, Tanner Marr, Larry Bell, all those boys over there, so thank them. But man, thank you for doing the broadcast. Going to enjoy going back and watching it. I know it was really close. I haven't been able to go back and watch the replay yet, but I know it was close. He was coming, and I was just trying to protect that bottom line. Dove all the way to the inside, but just like to give a shout out to Jonathan and Brian again for running such a good race, really clean, and earned a lot of respect from me tonight the way they raced me.
Yeah, definitely a great race and a lot of respect up there in the top 5. And before we wrap things up, just once again, congratulations to you on winning in amazing fashion here tonight and getting a good start to your season.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. And you have a great week. Look forward to hopefully talking to you a few more times this season.
Yep, we'll see you back in the booth for sure.
Hope so.
Alrighty, folks, that was your race winner here tonight, Brian Zimmerman in the 28 machine in amazing fashion. Connor, we're going to go back and look at the replay one more time if we can. It was a pretty exciting finish there, and I think we're going to have to relive it one more time.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely had my heart racing up here in the booth, and after seeing Atkins, come off that top side where not many people could be able to perform a pass up there, it was definitely one heck of a finish. But luckily, one man is definitely happy, and that is Brian Zimmerman.
Yeah, Zimmerman, a very happy man. As we go back right here, you can now see the replay down the back straightaway. This is a drone camera we got. You just see the run that Atkins is able to get off of the line, or off of the corner right there. Comes up. Here's the white flag. They go through turns 1 and 2. Adkins really drove the car into the corner and was able to get a lot of grip down the back, but you see Voss going to the bottom side right there, kind of tucking in line behind the 28 opposed to the 17. I think that might have been the advantage that did it right there, was the difference in the 1 car versus 2. But here's the view off of the corner down the front straightaway and right at the stripe. Couldn't get any closer than that. You'll see it all over Facebook tomorrow, folks, but nonetheless, a pretty good opening night here in the All-Star Racing League. I'd like to thank everybody that tuned into the stream here on True Sim Productions. Remember, I am your host, Winston Deal, from the WD Broadcasting Network on Facebook. So if you haven't already, go check out my Facebook over there. I'm doing iRacing live streams, and I'll even do some in-car racing where I get behind the wheel and you guys get to see me try and wheel these cars. So it's a pretty exciting little show, but nonetheless, thank you guys for letting me come into the True Sim Productions channel and put on a race for you guys. So I will thank you guys for watching. I'll give Connor a chance to say goodbye before we wrap things up.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for coming out and supporting True Sim Productions. They really do appreciate it over there. And definitely a blast being up here in the booth with a very well-known Winston Deal, as he puts on very good broadcasting, and definitely an honor to be part of it.
Yeah, always a fun time here with the WD Broadcasting Network and here on True Sim Productions. I got to thank Tanner Marr and Dalton Creech for really setting this up, helping me get all organized, and answering my text messages and my stupid questions throughout the week. Got to thank those guys. Thank Brandon Elvis too for everything he's done. Barry Elvis, Performance and Fabrication, Crooked Line Racing, everybody that helps put this deal together. But we will see you guys next week with race number 2 of the All-Star Racing League late model season at New Smyrna, and then the following week at Slinger Super Speedway. So definitely a couple shows you won't want to miss, and we will catch you guys next time on True Sim Productions.